Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. This is, well, let me tell you, y'all, you ever think you're just doing way too stinking much? I've got so much on my plate right now, it's ridiculous, but I don't even remember what the topic of this video is supposed to be. I'm sure I've got something written down in there. We're just gonna make it super fun, and I got a bunch of stuff headed out of here today. Let's go take a look. Now I know the reason why I don't remember the topic, because I wrote down a bunch of stuff. So we're going to cover some of this stuff today here. Delayed gratification, which you don't know what that means, but you will later. Let me turn this fan off. Niching down and super niching, which is a term I just made up, but it makes sense with what I'm hearing. And decision making or trailblazing, you don't know what that means, but I do. eBay friend or foe. I think we'll talk about that one today for a second, because I've got a couple interesting stories. I think we should make August Reseller Pride Month, and I've got a story about that one too. And I realized I forgot to put up the July numbers. I've been keeping myself accountable to our $250,000 goal this year. This might be the last. What did I do with these? Is there one more? Oh, you know what? I think I put these with something else too. So there's 8. 1, 2. Yeah, there's gonna be another one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's still 5 more left, so we did it in a separate lot, I think. Maybe that one will sell off too. Y'all, we made a killing on these soaps. Quercus soap. Don't ever pass up little things of soap. You might find a winner right here. We're selling these for 30 bucks right there. Penhaligon's London, and you'll only have to see me say it. You would have saw me say it a lot last week, but I was gone, so Jess was out shipping it. So these have not sold as well, but hopefully they will. All right, I just decided on 2 of these as the main topic, and we'll hit a few of the other ones. The main one, I think, is going to be Reseller Pride Month. I think we'll get to that in a second. But it's not what you think it means, whatever you think it means. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. Now, the other one I want to talk about was eBay friend or foe. So I've had, people like to complain about eBay. I like to complain. Well, I don't like it, but I do complain about it every once in a while. But 2 instances in just the last week were awesome. I was like, this is cool. Somebody filed a chargeback against something. I can't remember. I think they did it because the item didn't arrive. Well, tracking said it did arrive, and they did try to do a chargeback on it. I'm like, this is dumb. And eBay says, we'll take care of it. They even said in advance, I've never seen this unless I just don't remember it. They're like, hey, they've done a chargeback on this. We'll handle it from here, or something like that. I'm like, okay, cool. And of course, sure enough, it's like, yeah, right after that, eBay sided in your favor. You don't owe them any money. I'm like, that's cool. Because the tracking shows. Now, here's the irony. My wife ordered something the other day. Tracking shows it's delivered. Cannot find the dumb thing anywhere. Now, on a normal household, you might say, I don't know, maybe there's a porch pirate, or you put it somewhere and you don't know where you put it. In this household, there's packages everywhere. It's like, I don't know, maybe my dad shipped it back out. I don't know what the heck happened to this thing. The second thing was somebody, I'd sold a Radio Shack thing, and they said some little part was missing or something, I can't remember. And they're like, I'd like to send it back. I'm like, well, you can always do free returns or do a partial refund. I'm like, okay, how much do you want for this partial refund? I didn't, smell a snake, if you will. Is that what you say? Smell a skunk? Anyway, so I sent them that message, and then not long after, they opened a return. I'm like, well, I guess they don't care about the partial refund. They just want to return it. I'm like, okay, I do returns. And I went to go check on that thing, and eBay's like, oh, we got it. We're taking care of it. I'm like, sweet. You got to be kidding me. It was an overseas one. It was an international one, and eBay does that from time to time. Well, they do it all the time. Unless they think there's fraud or something. So, because the cost of sending it back, they want to open up those markets. eBay does a ton for all you eBay haters out there, and we all can be at times, and sometimes for good reason. They do a ton on that international side that we don't even see. All the regulations and all this stuff, they try to manage all that stuff for us through that international program, which is really cool. And in this case, they had my back. Next item is going to lead us down this path of Reseller Pride Month. It should be fun. I'm going to read you a few things. I do bring up drama a few times for specific, well, one of the reasons, because people like drama. I mean, let's just face it, right? But the other is to, give us resellers a strong spine, because we know better than anybody what it takes to do this and how difficult it is. And I'm going to read you a few things. Matter of fact, this video here, I got a little hate. I don't get that much hate on YouTube. I get a little bit. But it's, you know, I do get a ton on Facebook. And really, it's because the algorithm. The algorithm is different. People that follow you on YouTube follow you because they want to follow you. And a lot of times you just see stuff thrown in front of your face on Facebook. And the same thing with TikTok. Anyway, let me get to this, and we'll get to the story in a few minutes here. Turtle Valentines. Vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Valentines. I paid, I think, less than $1 a piece for these Valentines. I bought a whole bag full of them, and we've been selling them off here. This is on the Commonwealth Picker channel about a week or so ago, and so these cost me less than $2. They're super cool. Sold for $24.95 plus shipping. I took quite a few of them, recognizable ones, you know, Disney ones and stuff, and I already put them over on Shopcom and sold them off in a big lot, and then I have a bunch of other ones in here that I'm selling off on eBay. We're already well in the profit, which is cool because I got a bunch left. And this one went to Kevin. So Kevin, I appreciate it. Hey Kevin, I was literally just watching your video and saw you buy these. And as a TMNT collector and a huge fan of your videos, I knew I had to pause the video and make my first purchase. Well, I appreciate that very much. I appreciate you and all you do and the knowledge I've learned from you along the way the last few years and from your videos. Thank you. Take care, Kevin Klein. I appreciate that very much. And I hope you enjoy those because those are super cool. I might not ever open them if I kept them. They're 90s. They're not 80s because it's the Turtles, right? I think they started in 89, so they could be 80s. But I think those are from the 90s. And I put them in my 80s cave if I ever get it done. I was actually trying to find one of the places where I was going to use to talk about this next topic. And while doing so, I just answered some questions off of that 2 videos ago on the Flipper channel, which has been getting a ton of views and a lot of good reviews, which is good. I was nervous about it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that stuff as the days go on. I might say something at the end of this video about it as well, because I just want to be honest with folks and make sure they're not making the wrong decision. This right here, it's got a little damage to it. I remember being at a sale, coming home from the beach one time, a year ago or so, and pulled over a tiny little garage sale, and they had this sitting there. I'm like, sweet, I want that. And they had like 30 bucks on it. I'm like, huh, have a good day, y'all. They were sweet. I bought something off them. I don't remember what. And then I was at a sale a couple weeks ago and saw this guy sitting there. I'm like, I wonder what they want for that little cookie jar. And I think they said $2 or $3. I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely pick it up for that. And it sold for $47. I want to get this right. $47 plus shipping. And, you know, buying something like this for $20 is like a no way for me. You got to package it up. It's very breakable. I'm not going to mess with it. But for that price, you know, 2 or 3 or whatever, $5 into 47 is definitely worth it. So this is totally side note, because I'm going to get to this particular topic and I'm going to set it up here. But even on this channel, I get some haters, and this isn't about reselling, but I figured I'd answer it here because I've been answering questions lately. One lady said, what kind of lip gloss do you use? And I'm like, I don't use lip gloss. And then another person said, what kind of hair dye do you have? And I'm like, I don't have hair dye. I don't know. Why would anybody lie about that? Anyway, Dawn has always said that, Lady Arbitrage. I don't dye my hair. Promise. Promise. All right. This is, let me give you some context for this here. So this, you may have seen this video a few months back on the Picker channel. What I do on Facebook is I'll take a video from a couple months ago and I'll cut it up into a shorter version of it and I'll put it out there on Facebook. It works better over there. Anyway, it takes me, 15, 20 minutes to do that in the morning. I usually do 1 or sometimes 2 in a day, but that's what I do. And it was a private pick. And she had sent me pictures beforehand. It was I met her at a garage sale just down the road. She lived quite a ways away, and she sent me pics because I'm not going to drive an hour to go look at a crapshoot if you can send me pictures. And she sent me pictures of some old trucks. I think you've seen me sell some of these things and some other stuff. And I was like, okay. And I figured about what they'd be worth. The condition was not great. Trucks are not easy. Those big, not easy to ship, condition, whatever. And I was like, okay, but there was some good stuff in there too that I would want to sell. And she wanted it all gone. So I was like, okay, so I got to buy the stuff I don't want to buy, but that's okay. I'll do all that. And I was like, I'm looking at around $100 for this. I was like, I was thinking at the time it's maybe worth $350, $400, and some of it I didn't want to sell. And she's like, okay, sounds good. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to make this trip down there. And then once she knows I'm coming, she starts bringing out more stuff. And so I get there and there's more than I thought would be there. Anyway, I'm going to try to make the story short, but you got to have story short, But you got to have context when you see these things and when I talk about being proud of what you do. And non-resellers simply just do not understand what you guys do. They don't. And you can't expect them to. And you can't educate everybody either. But you definitely don't want to fall prey to this and get to the point where it's like, yeah, maybe resellers are bad people. It's a bunch of BS, it's a bunch of garbage. And, you know, I like to kind of troll the trolls, if that makes sense. And a lot of them aren't trolls. They're just seeing it from their perspective. And I get there, and there's far more there. In my mind, you got to remember, they think you're looking everything up. And a lot of times. And I'm not. I'm just simply going through there. I don't even think I could look things. Maybe I could in that place. I wasn't either way. I already knew what the core was worth. You know, $3 to $450 maybe, low side condition issues without really going through it. And I told her $100. And she starts pulling out other stuff. They had micro machines, which can be really good. They haven't sold yet, though. I think one batch of them sold. They did have a couple of good hats, a couple of good t-shirts, and a sweet San Francisco 49ers jacket, and then one other jacket that's decent money. That might have actually sold today. And I'm just totaling up in my head thinking, yeah, this is probably $800 worth of stuff. And I always total on the low end, right? Just assuming, you know, if you think, oh, that's awesome, it's going to, like there was a, what was it? It was a bag. It was a DuckTales bag, and that's awesome. And I'm like, I don't know how much that's worth, you know, so I don't really know how much to offer. I was hoping it was worth like $25, $30. Ended up being worth 20, right? So you got to always err on the low side if you're going to be a picker. You're in control of your own destiny here. You're paying yourself. And so the more you pay for something, it's basically like walking into your boss's office and say, give me a pay cut. And that's what these people don't get. And they would not do. And you shouldn't expect yourself to do that either. That doesn't mean you can't be fair and you can't try to do things, especially if they've invited you home into an ethical way. And that's what I tried to do here. So I think in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably minimum $800. So what am I willing to pay? At a garage sale, I'm not going over a third. I usually don't do it. Occasionally I do. But if they've invited me into their home, you know, I'll go over a third, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this is a negotiation. I'm going to start with $225, expecting them to come back because I'd pay up to $300, maybe $350 for that. And they immediately said yes. So I took it, obviously, right? And boy, they blew me up in the comments. It was crazy. I'll read them to you here in a second. Let me pull one more item. But don't be ashamed of what you do, and don't be ashamed of getting a good deal. That doesn't mean lie. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here because some people accuse me of that stuff too. I try my best to tell the truth, even when I'm out there at sales and I say, oh, Turner might like that. I say that because Turner might like it, and Turner always gets a chance to get it. But, you know, I've seen resellers out there, I'm going to buy this for my daughter and whatever, and they're laughing. That to me is just bogus. First of all, it's unnecessary. And, you know, why are you going to sit there and lie to people if it's unnecessary? But, you know, ethics and morality, well, they're different in different ways. But, you know, if you're a business person trying to make money for your family, you want to get the best deal you can within reason. I'm not saying being a jerk, but within reason. And I felt very good about that. Now, turned out, got home, and that stuff's probably worth $1,000. And I haven't even sold it all off. I don't know if I've looked it all up. I knew a lot of it was going to go on either Shop Commons or on Dibdit, and I was going to take a smaller margin, and I got to pay Jess to help me with that. I have zero problem. And when I posted that video, I didn't think anybody would take issue with it. But listen to this. And when we get to, I'm going to give you some just brutal truth here. Things that I don't often say, but I'm going to say it here. Here's another example. This one was at a sale. I think they had like $25 on it or something, or more. I can't remember. And I'm like, listen, I don't know how bad you want to sell stuff, but I'll give you $10 for it. Or they had 20 on it. And I'm like, I'll give you $10 for it. And he said, yes. I got no problem with that. It sold for 50-ish, maybe. I think that's right. Let me look. $49.95 plus shipping. Pretty cool. Adam McNatt. I don't know anything about skateboards, but I knew this is in great shape. And I figured it would sell. It's a pain in the butt to ship, y'all. I'm not paying $20 for that. To get 50 minus fees, all that, it's not worth the work to ship something like this. But at 10 it was. I'm not ashamed of it at all. And I'm probably not ever going to stop. But this is a cool sale. $50 plus shipping. I'm going to tell you a few secrets here before I read this. But, you know, I obviously do social media. I've known for a very long time that if I can, garage sale videos are where you can scale and make, you know, real money. I mean, I make money over here too, but not like that. And I've known for a long time that if I were to go out there and to pay up for stuff all the time, my audience would grow much bigger than it is. I would lose some people that are hardcore resellers because they see that and they're like, yeah, that's not how it really works. And I know I'd lose more money on the reselling side because I'm paying up for everything, but it would probably be outpaced by the growth of a YouTube channel that's just out there treasure hunting. If you ever watched American Pickers, they're not lowballing people, right? Because you're going to have a smaller audience and you're going to have an audience that hates you. But I made a decision to just be myself out there and to be my old teacher self, if that makes sense. Where every single thing, most pickers out there are like this. You're trying to pay the daggone bills, man, and you're working your butt off. And I just made the decision, you know, I don't need the money like I did literally to pay a bill in 2 weeks or a week in the past. So I'm not going to be ridiculous out there, but I'm not going to make decisions that I would not have made in the past in order to get more people to watch me on YouTube. That's probably a bad economic decision if you want to know the truth. But I just made a decision that I was going to try, and people still don't think this, but to be a reseller that's like a lot of resellers out there. That's why I'm not quitting eBay. I'm not doing the, because not everybody can go out and sell live like crazy and do whatever. Some people can, but some people can't. And so I just made that decision. I don't think I've ever said it quite like that, but there's the truth of it. And because of it, I probably don't grow as big as I could on social media, and I get a lot of hate. Which means that a lot of you, if you showed what you were doing, would get a lot of hate. So Billy here says, I hope you meet a grizzly bear with syphilis. Okay. He's not pushy, he's just greedy, all caps. Sounds good. I bought these from Sarah, I think. Renovative Home. Check her out on Instagram and on YouTube and TikTok and probably Facebook. I think that's where I got these, although I'm not 100% sure. I love picking up stuff like this. People love... I sell these to people who want to get the book, Wonders of Science and Modern Life, but more often than not, it's people wanting decor. Now, that one has a little issue, but the rest of them are pretty cool looking, and Airbnbs have been great for this kind of stuff. Used to never pick it up, and now I pick it up all the time because it sells $50 plus shipping. And that was another Bonanza sale. And I just, in the light of honesty out there, you know, I told people that I'm going to stop selling on Bonanza, and then I didn't stop on Bonanza. And I do still tell people probably it's not a good idea. The reason I stopped was because they're upping their fees just to list an item, and they have so very few sales over there that it didn't make sense. It's like, this is crazy. I might lose money. And the reason I started again is because when I went to shut it down, I realized they had these coins, these Bonanza coins. It's because I had a link to Bonanza for so many years on social media. I'm like, man, I could sell for like 2 years for free. And so I kept doing it, and I'm keeping track of it to see if it's still worth it. But I don't suggest doing it at this point, and I used to all the time. Which brings me to another point, but I want to read these. These are funny. Well, let's just do this real quick. You know, I try my best to be honest with folks out there, and sometimes I got to sell and shill and stuff because, you know, a company says, hey, do this ad and then do it this way and whatever, and I'm going to do it because that's just, I mean, who's not going to make, you know, $800 in an hour if they offer you that kind of money? It's like, this is dumb money. So I do it from time to time. But when it comes to reselling products, reseller type stuff, you know, I'm very conscious of that. It's like with the List Easier stuff. And I just saw one come through. I was talking to Uncle Steve a minute ago in my chair. I'm like, somebody, because I was talking to him. He's like, should I sign up for this thing? And I'm like, well, and we went through the stuff. I'm like, yeah, I could make $372 or whatever I make if you sign up for this. And I'm not going to lie to people. It's not for everybody. And I was like, okay, let's go through this. Do you list on your phone? Yes, he does. I was like, are you opposed to listing on a computer? No, I'll do this. I was like, you know, what's it work best for? What's it not work? He's like, I sell club head covers like crazy. Uncle Steve, I'm putting your stuff out there. And he's got like 600 club head covers sitting there. I'm like, that sounds like a perfect thing. I said, you could list them all in a day. Not that you should do that, because some people are listing and selling so much using it because they're all the similar items and whatever that eBay shut them down. They're even saying, hey, you know, take it slow so eBay thinks something's funny's going on. And there's some issues, like you can't edit the photo once it's in eBay, so you got to make sure your photos are right, that kind of thing. There's different little things, so it's not for everybody. If I sat here and told you it was for everybody, and everybody goes and signs up for it, and I make money, and then everybody's like, this guy said it was for, it's not for everybody, not yet anyways. And there's some people out there that know the ins and outs of AI and ChatGPT agent and all that, and they're like, I can do all this, and it's, you know, whatever, and the cost. If you could do it better, do it better. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But for some people, like Uncle Steve, I think it is for. And anyway, I don't want to run off of that tangent. I just don't want people to hear me say something without actually hearing exactly what I'm saying. You know, I feel like honesty is a big, big part of this, especially on social media. If you're not going to tell the truth, people, then you have a bad reputation. And that's why some of these comments ticked me off a little bit, but in reality, I kind of laugh most of them off, and I am proud of what I do, and you should be proud of what you do as well. If you're doing it in an honest way that is paying you for your hard work, and this is hard work, then be proud of it. He also asked me, he said, will it work for golf clubs? And I said, I think so, but I don't know. I don't know. And I probably will in the future, but you know, if I don't have the answers, I'm not going to give you the answers to the questions, but I'm going to ask them. And I hope more than anything that people at least think I'm sincere. I try to be. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and none of us are. And we should extend some grace to some folks too. Stage Right Metallica. I can't say that on here. Anyway, this one right here sold. This one I picked up at the Escape from the Interstate, or Take a Break from the Interstate sale. I don't remember what I paid for it. I just don't remember. Somebody else had it in their hand, and I saw it. I'm like, ooh, those should go for decent money. And I did see a little, you know, if you get one of these new in the box, they go for great money. And this one, I maybe paid 10, maybe? I don't remember. What did it sell for? $49.95 plus shipping, 50 bucks. That's, I remember my buddy down the street, Eric Cundiff. I think he's a city councilman now or something. Anyway, I remember him buying this when we were young. My mom wouldn't have let me buy it. I would have had to hide it. But that one sold for 50 bucks plus shipping. All right, here we go. This is Billy back? No, this is Jennifer. It says his negative comments when he's talking to her is what gets me. And that's a big criticism you get all the time. Talking an item down. If I'm talking an item down, what I'm saying is accurate. It is accurate. Now, I don't even know why I said this, but she's right. I did say it. He says, when he says it's a little cool, meaning I wasn't like, that is the most awesome thing in the world. I don't know why I said that, but I thought it was pretty cool. I've seen these, but not the book holder. Here, that's this right here. And I said in there, I said something about that right there, which obviously is still here. It hasn't sold. And I've seen these, but not the book holder, and they don't go for much, yet he snatched it right up. And that was, everything I said was 100% accurate. I've had those books before. The books don't really go for all that much money, but I never saw the whole set with the holder in there. And that's why I wanted it. I was just being honest. Here's an item I might pick up at a yard sale and say, Reagan might like that. It's a Harry Potter mug. And it would be true. And when I buy this stuff, don't tell Reagan, but there's a drawer inside where I hide some of this stuff for her. But, I mean, come on, you can only give so many gifts, right? And this Harry Potter mug sold for $15.15 plus shipping. Hey, y'all, take a minute, go watch ABC Matt. He's trying to get his hours. He's been trying for a long time. Just go watch one of his videos or two of them on stream. You can turn this one off and go watch it. Rosalind, I can't pronounce your last name, says you have no shame. And James, oh, we already got that one. Not pushy at all, James says. Just a lowballer. All right, here's the delayed gratification part, which actually ties in, come on, boy, ties into what we're talking about today, because this is an item. I literally have had this for 3 years. I've delisted, relisted this thing so many times. Finally sold. The person who wanted these, I don't even know what the heck they are. You can tell me what they are here. Anyway, that's not even the same language. Anyway, they sold for $43, and I don't even know what they sold for. Hold on. $48.98, 97 cents, plus shipping. You know, these were likely the only ones out there, is my guess. They certainly were when I listed them. I think I haven't listed them on Amazon. That's how long I've had these. I haven't sold on Amazon forever. And they finally sold. Where would somebody get these if it wasn't for resellers? Honestly, Where the heck would they get them? Stan says, I was thinking at least 1,000. Sad that this guy lost his whole collection for nothing, really. And I would have, like I said, I'd have paid 300. I'd started the negotiation. They said absolutely, because they wanted it gone, folks. That's just facts. And I would not have paid 500. I sure as heck wouldn't have paid 1,000 for them, because in my mind, I know I can get 800, and if I do a little bit, I'd probably get 1,200 for them. So I'm sorry, but that's just a stupid comment. Sorry, Stan, but whatever. All right, let's see. Wow, I get you need to make some profit. This is from Christina, but that's someone's childhood collection that they took the time to collect and admire. They did all the work for you. Really. Most of us would feel guilty, but I guess the people just wanted it gone. I personally would have offered more. Okay. I'm telling y'all, Y2K and earlier mall brands coming back. I bought this one well over a year ago. It might have been 2 years ago. It was Abercrombie, but it was size small. And talking about doing the work for me, that's a bunch of nonsense, and y'all know that. You know, I don't know what I picked it up for, a couple bucks or something. And it sold for $34.95, which looks awesome. But was that family willing to sit there? Then obviously their daughter grew out of it. And to list it on eBay and sit and wait to get that dollar amount for 2 years? These people, you know, tell me you're a reseller without telling me you're a reseller. $34.95 plus shipping. I think the bottom line, what people just don't get, and if you're not a reseller out there, and some people watch this and you're not, is items are worth what they're worth in the marketplace that you have them. And if the marketplace is your front yard, the value isn't eBay value. And so when people say it's worth far more, not in that situation, it's not. It's worth far more if you put the work into it. And the marketplace, it's the rules of arbitrage, y'all. Steve says, happens a lot. I get ripped off on my collection, even stolen from. A collection like that took time to build. They bought it all as a kid, but whatever. Okay, look up on eBay. I bet that stuff is high dollar, a rare collection now, and I refuse to sell mine. William shows a little understanding here. He says, I understand probably 40% of the Matchbox are junk, but the collectible stuff is big money. But if you're not a reseller, it's just stuff. A good point. I would say, however, that I would say 90% of that Matchbox stuff was junk. Junk meaning it's not worth selling off individually. Not necessarily junk. You can put it in an antique booth or something. I sold all of the Matchbox stuff in one big lot over on Shop Commons because none of it was worth putting in the time to look it all up and to find the few pieces that were good. I just sifted through it and I'm like, this isn't going to be worth it. I'd rather pass it on to somebody at a good deal who's niched down into those categories or that has an antique booth where they can just put $1 a car on it or something like that and they can make some money on it too. So, pull an old Pepsi hoodie on 30% off. Probably should have never listed it. $10.46 plus shipping. And you know, on social media you put comps up there, but that doesn't mean I knew what the comp was when I bought it. Sometimes I do. The San Francisco coat and one tee get you back the whole amount. Well, if they sold for what the comps said, it would have got me close to the whole amount, minus $50 in fees. So it's not quite accurate. And I also thought the San Francisco coat was probably worth $50 to $75. Turned out to be worth more. And the Gillies t-shirt was worth a ton. It's like $75 comps on there. I still have it, y'all. I haven't sold it. So things aren't as easy as snapping your fingers and they're gone here. Good hustle, but I do feel bad because they're obviously slow and you mad smart. They weren't slow at all. That says more about you than it does about them. Just because they got a country accent, they were plenty smart. And actually, here's a little side note to this. That guy liked that price so much. He's like, hey, I also have this. Come down to my house. I'm like, okay, let's go get in the cart. No, it was like next door. And he sold me his entire video game collection. Man, just imagine how hot they'd be when they see that one. Crazy people. Jeff, pitiful, always trying to rip people off. I would do that deal exactly the way I did it again. There's nothing wrong with that deal. There's nothing wrong with going out there and getting the best deal. Now, I will say this, and people do this with gold. I've stopped putting some of the gold stuff on there because when you buy gold at a yard sale, half time you get home and it's not gold. It's not gold. And so you take these calculated decisions. And sometimes if I know something without, a lot of stuff says 14K and I've bought it before and it ain't 14K. It's worthless. And so you can't pay up $50. I mean, some of that gold stuff is worth $100, $700, $800, $900. You can't pay a fair price because you're going to be the one getting ripped off. And if they're putting it in a garage sale, it's a crapshoot. So there's my argument against that as well. By the way, that's not to say that people can't pay what they want to pay. Be nice, be generous. It's just part of being a human being. And business is business, but your personal life is your personal life too. And I've done that before. And a lot of times I just keep it off of the video. And sometimes I don't. If you remember the one, sale of a lifetime, I went back and gave that lady $800 more. And there's a sale, and you might know which one I'm talking about. It hasn't come out yet, but you'll see it. Where I brought stuff home. This is the Misfits. I don't know anything about them. I don't think I want to. This sold for $29 plus shipping. Where I made what was, I thought, a fair offer, and she countered, and I was like, yeah, I can do that, and I paid her more. I got it home, and I was in shock at how much this stuff was worth. It was worth a bunch. And matter of fact, I got to add to it right here. Now you'll know which one I'm talking about. And I want to do something for this lady, and we've been working on it. And I don't think anybody should feel the need to, because that was their decision. They knew what they were doing, sound mind. And, I got a deal, and I'm going to make a bunch of money off of it. I just like this lady. She was super awesome. You could tell she doesn't have a ton of money, and I want to do that. But those are decisions you make as a person, not as a business, in my opinion. And, not that businesses shouldn't operate with some, ethic and whatever too. But that's really where I was at and where I was comfortable. And it was a huge lot without going through everything. When I went through it, it turned out better than it was. And hopefully, if we can make this work out, we're going to help this lady out a little bit. And it should be fun. Sold on Tuesday some Commons lots that included stuff from the Filipino flip. Not much, but added $24 to the total. $1,000 is what I paid her. $1,651 so far. So $651 in the profit, but we're nowhere near done. And oh, you know what? I'm glad I put this here to remind myself, y'all. And this isn't even in here. I'll have to do this on another video too. But they make awesome stuff. Go check out Chosen Custom Studios. They sent me a gift. Did you send me this as well? I don't want to put it in here if you didn't. I feel like you might have. But I'm going to do this right here. This is a joke, y'all. It's a joke. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be like this. If you know, you know. Coasters. This one. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you might not have sent me that, but he sent me a sign. You see it in my videos inside, but Chosen Custom Studios right there. Go check them out over there, and we may be talking to you soon. And to extrapolate these ideas out, would these people say Goodwill should take down the names of everybody who donates stuff? Donate stuff. Free. And when they find something worth $1,000, they should look them up and then go pay them back more money. I mean, this stuff is insane. People make, they have their own ability to make their own decisions based on what's best for them. Nike dry fit hat sold for $11 something plus shipping, and this sold for $12 something plus shipping. I think this might have been a viewer who bought this, and I don't have your name down, but if you are, thank you. I think you sent a message. I think that's Willow Mon in the messaging system instead of on the purchase, so I didn't see it, but thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Katrina says, I thought you were going to offer in the $400 to $500 range. And Jennifer says, not Kevin. He's the biggest cheapskate in the business. I can tell you what, I might not pay up for stuff all the time. I guarantee you that most people watching this video would pay what I pay or less. And I know that because of all the resellers I know and that I hang around with and go picking with. There's probably only, I'm going to say 2 that would pay up more than me. And most of them who would pay up end up walking away from it because they don't want to negotiate it down. And, then who's winning in that, right? The next guy maybe, but they're probably ending up with it. Goodwill's probably winning in that. By the way, my number was the beginning of the negotiation. They could have, I offered them to give the first number, and they just agreed to it. And I was perfectly happy because then I didn't have to make the decision. What if they would have said $400 or $500? I'm not sure I'd have done it. And I don't know, maybe I would have. There it is, Tweety Bird. This one right here, I can't remember where I got this one from, to be honest with you. But it's pretty cool. I almost had a sale the day after I listed it, and then it never sold forever. It only sold for $20, but it did sell, plus shipping. I missed the days where you could do priority mail, because that would go in a shoebox perfectly. Now I'm gonna have to shape a box. I let my sale lapse, and I got a sale when it was lapsed. And I've turned it back on at 30% off, but I'm trying to find a Marvin the Martian. Maybe they're not over here. They're not in there. They're not in here, so they gotta still be over here. There it is, right there. Can you see them? See if I can grab them. Let me get it out of there. Come on, Marvin. There we go. So at full price, these only sell for $10.95. And a lot of times they're on discount. And I have a bunch of them. I don't think I bought these on Shop Commons. I think this is a private deal. But hey, I'll take it. Speaking of negotiations, this one, it might be over here. I remember they're Scentsies. And I wanted the scents themselves, the wax melts or whatever you call them. I wasn't sure I wanted these because the price is on them. I just made a dumb offer. I'm like, 20 bucks, I'll take them all. And she's like, yep. I'm like, okay. I truly don't say, like I said them, when they said that I was a, what'd they say? Not pushy, just a lowballer. I was very explicit with them. I'm like, listen, this is where I'm comfortable at. If you want to do something different with this, you're not hurt my feelings. It's your prerogative. You can do that. Same thing here. If they wanted to give it to me that price, that's what it was worth to me. This one turned out to be a winner and made the deal great because I paid 20 for all those. And a lot of them are really slow sellers. They've been listed for a while, y'all. That video's been out on the Picker channel for a while. And we've only sold a few. So I knew that was the price I was comfortable at. And this one I think sold for like $42.95 plus shipping. And Julie, I'm going to thank you. I think this is viewer stuff because you bought two things and it was one thing that I kind of advertised. Because fall is coming. And so we pulled some of our fall colors out. This one was awesome. This little like pinwheel Afghan in great shape. I'm like, that is awesome. I'll put 50 bucks on it. And Julie picked it up. And thank you, Julie. So $92.95 plus shipping. This is my next fall one that I picked up. Really nice tight knit. There's a few little issues. But I'm either going to put this on eBay or over on Tickety.com. So if you don't see it on eBay, go check Tickety. I might just do an auction with this one. It's pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see. Check one of those two out. And we're just going to keep one sells. We'll do the next one. When one sells, we'll do the next one. Somebody got left in here all by himself. Watch out, bud. You can go out there with your brother. Or you can stay in here. I don't care. Can't make up your mind. I think this is the right one. Columbia, yep. Picked this one up at a Liberty University sale. They have their own yard sale every year. I think I paid $5 for it. Sold for $24.95 plus shipping. Not everybody's like this, of course. Some people got some common sense like Alex. And I don't even think Alex is a reseller. I like the people that say he's ripping them off or he stole it. You people don't understand that the seller can, all caps, say no thank you or counter with a higher price. And I likely would have paid more for sure. Most of them are just wanting to be rid of it because it's taking up space. Could care less as long as they get something for it. The next one I said sold the other day, but before we shipped it, somebody canceled it and now it's sold again. It's Nashville. If you ever find that out there, pick it up. 1 through 4, sold for $36 plus shipping. That's Connie Britton right there. She actually went to the school I used to teach at. And I don't know, I don't think she's older, so I wasn't teaching then. But I was teaching when at EC Glass High School, when the blonde girl from Two Broke Girls, she also went there. And I was teaching at that point, but I didn't teach her. There's a pretty good theater program over there, 36 plus shipping. Quite a few good responses, and I'll sum it up with this, and then I'll pick a few more items. Man, we had a bunch of sales today. Do you not realize how much work is involved? Lots of research, sometimes cleaning, taking photos, and listing. That's a decent price Kevin paid. A lot of the stuff may even sit. So there is an expense of storing this stuff as well. Obviously, you're not a reseller to make a comment like this. There's quite a few comments like that, so don't think it's just that. There's a lot of people who do get it, and nobody gets it more than resellers get it. All right, Reagan is here, and a couple of dogs, and something sold out of the CommonwealthPicker.com store. What's up?
James got a Commonwealth Picker sticker.
Got a Commonwealth Picker sticker. Thank you, James. Hey, Reagan, I got a question for you. Whose Cheetos bag is this?
I don't know.
It's been here for like a week.
So am I.
Anyways.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
Here's the irony here is a lot of those people, maybe even the same people, might make comments like, it's not worth it. It's, you got to, gas and taxes and this and that. And that. Well, one of the two can't be true. At any rate, here we go. Plainsman. These sold, I don't even know where I got them from. These sold for 10 bucks, I think, plus shipping. Sold an AC Delco water pump. I remember this buy. It's been a long time. Sold on 30% off. Sold for $41.97 plus shipping. I think I paid $5 for it. It was the end of the day, and the guy was just fire selling stuff, and this isn't something I normally pick up. But for $5 and a 40, I thought would be more, but we sold it for 42 plus shipping. Sold this handheld gaming system. It's like a old Game Boy Color kind of thing, but it's Ambernick or something. I've never bought one of these before, and I could have got more money for it, but a teacher sent me a message and was like, I'm a teacher, could you do better for me? And I'm like, I feel your pain. I guess I can. Sold it for $30 plus shipping. I probably don't need to show it to you, but I will. There's what it looks like right there. So $39 plus shipping. I don't remember what I paid for it. All right, William bought this one, and this, William, I think you're a viewer as well. You left a message somewhere, and now I'm seeing a problem with this. The listing itself said that one of the guns doesn't stay in place, and this was the gun. However, it did not say it was broken, and I looked at the pictures, and the pictures were not broken. So that piece right there, those are the two pieces that go to it. So this is now damaged. I'm going to send this to you, and I want you to send me a message when you get it and just say, hey, you know, this was broken. And I'll refund you all your money, and maybe you can display it like that and get it for free. So my apologies. Somehow it got broken. It wasn't working to begin with, but somehow when it was in there, I think it just, some of these things get fragile. So a lot of times we'll wrap these up, make sure something doesn't happen to them. But something from the picture till now, this is a Motu Landshark, I think is what they're called. At any rate, you could sell these and make money, or you could just maybe super glue it and rig it up and use it for display. Either way, send me a message, we'll send you a refund. At any rate, I could keep going today, but I'm not going to. It's hot in here. I gotta turn that AC on. I think we're around $1,000 in sales headed out of here today, and I got a little bit of shipping to do and some busy days in front of me. Yeah, I hope things are going well for you. I hope your sales are trudging along in August. It could be a tough month, but Q4 is not too far away, and keep it up. So thank y'all as always for joining us. I can't wait to see you next.